Welcome to another of my testimonies of God. And this is kind of a dual purpose testimony, but has to do with me old Girly Bird. And I traded, I can't remember what it was, I think a gun or something, for a blue and gold macaw female. And she was just a gorgeous bird, big. She only bit me once, but I still have the damaged nail, comes out crooked to this date. But beautiful bird and talked and such. We had a big giant cage and the boys liked her and talked to her and carried on. And so we like to set her outside. And normally I clip a bird's wings so they can't fly. But I guess I hadn't done it yet, obviously, because somehow I had her tethered so she could, kind of be out in the free in the open. She flies off up to about 65 feet in the air in a tree in our front yard. So she's loose, fully winged. And the neighbors, everybody's having a heyday inside. She's saying stuff and laughing and carrying on. And so I called the fire department to come help me. No, we won't come for no bird. So we do it for cats. Duh. So anyway, so I said, okay. So I coaxed her with every fruit and vegetable I could think of that she loved. Didn't come down. And I did everything I could right up till dark. I even prayed that God would bring her down and put the cage out and everything out. And just before dusk, she flew off into the sunset, so to speak, just like they do in the wild. Big old bird. You got to remember, she is a bright colored blue and gold Amazon macaw. So she's a target for hawks, owls, and crows, which really ended up in this testimony. So we went to bed. We all prayed. I explained to the boys, should have trimmed the wings, and they should pray about Girly, and so on. So we did. So the next day, and we drove around, looked all around the neighborhood and whatnot, and I called a shelter, and I called our what do they call it, Humane Society, and then anyway, all that day we never found her. And so it's the next day, so it's 3 days into this. And I wasn't thinking that she wouldn't have any food, but she hadn't, because her natural foods weren't there, and we had fed her, and the owner had fed her from a baby that we got her from. So I'm preparing the family for the worst. This bird's going to die, or it might already be dead, but a hawk or an owl or whatever, because she can't hide her colors. So I looked in there, or I did somehow. I kept looking and searching. I found a bird thing, rescue thing. Trying to remember, it's been so many years. This is back like 1994 or 5, maybe 6, I don't know. And I called this agency, and they said, no, we haven't heard anything about a bird. It was in the Independence area, This is a big populated city even then. And I said, okay, thank you. Here's my number, And I left my number with all of them. Well, this lady from this particular organization, after a few hours, calls me back in the afternoon and says, hey, I just got a call from a lady who said there's a big blue and yellow bird up above a abandoned house. Not abandoned, unrented or whatever, nobody in it. I said, really? Where? And she gave me the address. So Susan and I jumped in the truck and ran over there. Sure enough, there she was in like an 80-foot tree. And it's a 3-story house. And she's about another 15 feet up in the air in this tree. So there's nobody there. I knocked, of course, and it's empty. And I said, well, honey, you can stay down here on the ground, and I'm going to go up. And so I prayed. And so I climbed and I climbed and I climbed and I climbed, and I finally get to the third story on the top of this roof. And I don't have a rope or anything. And the way this played out was I get down to the edge of the roof. I could see Susan down there about 35 feet or whatever it was. It was a lot. And at least I was young enough to do it, right? So when I got down to the edge of the roof, oh, I knew what it was. There was a limb that was kind of not right behind me where I could put full weight on it, but over here off to the side. So I grabbed that limb. I put my foot on the edge of the roof and I reached out my hand as far as I could. I put it out just like I would to have her come to me. And I was talking to her the whole time, and she was still about a foot and a half away. I just couldn't reach her. And I did that 2 or 3 times, and I'd come back and rest a little. I'm thinking, man, you could end up dying for this bird. And so I kept doing it. I went out, and what she did is she had her feet on this branch. She just pivoted forward. She just rolled forward, stuck her neck out and her beak out as far as she could, hooked it on my finger, me hanging on the branch. She hooked her beak on the finger, and there she hung, and I brought her back in and got her in, calmed her down a little bit. But she was pecked up pretty bad. Like I said, I think the crows got to her. And weak because she hadn't had anything to eat in 3 days. Now that doesn't seem like much, but birds have to eat all the time. So she was near death, really. And so here now I got to climb down this 3-story roof, which was a job getting up with both hands with a bird in my chest. Actually, I stuffed her in my jacket because it was kind of cool at the time. That was another thing. It was pretty cool at night, but it wasn't full-blown winter yet. Got down, gave her to Susan. Susan nursed her back to health and bottle fed her and did whatever she needed and got her warm, and she made it. And so I'm thinking, well, the church we were attending, I don't remember, but I thought I'll just share that on Sunday. That's a miracle, may as small as it may seem, for the church. The fact that a full-fledged, full-winged adult bird could fly off into the sunset and still be returned to its owners is pretty amazing. She could have went off for miles and miles and miles. The one lady that happened to see her, all she had to do was not see her. Called that particular lady that I had called last the next 2 days later, and just a whole array of intervention with God. So anyway, but then the devil hit me and he says, you know what? You can't tell that to an adult congregation. That's no big miracle. That's a trivial thing, chance and so on. I thought, well, you dirty rat. But I did think about it. I said, well, that is kind of maybe not what it is. And then the thought instantly hit my head. There is no such thing as a small miracle, whether it be about birds or anything. There's no small miracles. So so I shared it, and shared it many times since then. But it's true. God is there and active in many ways in all things, and prayer was essential here as well. So God is real. The purpose of these testimonies is to share to the public that God is real and He's no joke. Get into the Word and you'll find Him. Do it with intent of heart to find Him and to love Him and to serve Him and to honor Him. And the Word won't go away void. Good day.